So I'll give a little introduction about what the discussion is, and then we can talk about it. So to begin, I guess we should be very clear that what we're pointing to or what we're talking about can't actually be said because it's not objectifiable. So take whatever I say with a grain of salt because it's just a suggestion and it's not the reality. In the sense, there isn't a reality. There's just what is. And as I said, it's not an object. It's just this. And what the suggestion is that this is without beginning or end. It just appears. And even saying it appears is too much because it sounds like that's happening. It doesn't really happen. It just simply is, but not as an object. They're just simply what is and isn't. And this can and does appear as anything. It can appear as faster than light. It can appear as a personal experience. And that's actually kind of what we're talking about. This conversation can clarify, can make clear that the experience of I am, the experience of knowing what this is an illusion. And that illusion has certain qualities to it. One of the basic qualities is that knowing what this is gives rise to the experience that there's something else, that there's something hidden, that the appearance is part of something which I experience as my life. And my life then has, or seems to have, meaning, purpose, and intention. So the appearance is no longer, or what is no longer just simply happening, but it's happening in relation to me. And that relationship has with it the quality that something needs to happen. It might be that what's being spoken about here seems to be something that could be found, or equally could be lost, and that there's a need intrinsic in it to find something, which is really the treadmill of me, the experience that something needs to be found. That the appearance in and of itself, what's happening, is somehow missing something. And it's up to the individual, the separate experience, to find it. Now, what will become clear as we discuss it is that experience of trying to find something is hopeless. Well, of trying to find fulfillment or the end of seeking is hopeless because it can't help but make an object of what it's looking for. It lives exclusively, it is exclusively a subject-object reality. And what we're suggesting is that is an illusion. And at the same time that it's hopeless, it doesn't matter because there is only what is. It just appears as something to that separate experience, but it's still simply this. It's still simply without intention, without need to become. So we might talk about the end of that experience of needing or becoming. But as this isn't really happening, it isn't really objectifiable, the end of that becoming doesn't really happen. It just reveals that nothing really ever happens. That all there is what is, and it's already unspeakably what it is. It just doesn't need to be defined. Hi, Mark.
It's actually Adar.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's fine. Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you about me as a fear.
Yeah.
I've been following your videos, and I start to have this sensation of this. It's not like separation, but it's understanding what is being me, but not being me.
Yeah.
And recently, I just it's like a feeling of like pure fear as existence.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand what is this I as just as fear.
Well, no, it's not just fear. It fears, but it's also and it's basically knowing or experience. That's fundamentally what me is and, the knowing of this.
And it feels like it's really real, like it's catching inside, like it's like
it does.
Grabbing inside. And this is what makes it real. No,
it's not actually. What makes it real is when it arises as an experience of I amness, okay. Which arises in everything else, which is then the reality of experience. I am the reality of experience.
And it's like there is like open space, and it's like something's going to happen, and there is just fear meeting something's going to happen.
It's not like fear meeting something's going to happen. It is the experience of the experience itself is when that's what's happening, that seems to be everything. And within that is the fear of loss, the fear of death. And this message can, if it's heard on some level, there can be a sense of the unreality of everything. Okay. Which is the loss of the experience of I am as a knowing, as a solidity. And that can be threatening. Yeah, it feels, this is why, because I know it's not real, but it's grabbing so much inside, like very physical. So it's like, show me, yes, I'm real. I'm, I'm existing. And so this doesn't know me is not real. There just is no me. Okay. So what is it exactly, this contraction, It's the fear of loss of control. Okay. And it's like alive, it's like liveness, it's something? In the experience of separation, the sense of lost control is something. Okay. So just let it be, like it's just existing as you can't. Like, you can't let that go. You can't let, okay. No. So it comes and goes, like it's like coming, going. Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, it probably does. Okay, because sometimes it just, everything feels like open, there is no boundaries. And sometimes it's just like everything closes, like. Yeah. Especially when there's that openness, then that is very threatening if there's still a me there. And so it will come back sometimes even stronger and go, oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's very strange because it was so open, and then it goes so, so it's sometimes it's scary and just like, okay, I'll just let it be. Well, you can't, but. I can, yeah, I can. Yeah, no. But I feel it. This is why it's strange, because I feel it. Yeah. So, like something is happening, and then
you feel it and you don't know where to grab it. It's just there.
That's right. Yeah. You don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
So that's just like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah. It almost feels like you're gonna die. It's almost like that. Like you like.
But
what's
that's
gonna
exactly
happen?
what's happening. It's dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, when that's what's happening, it truly feels like death. And
Yeah.
when it's gone, nothing happened. It wasn't a big deal. It's not
And
worth
then,
mentioning.
Exactly. But then
Yeah.
there is the mental, like the I think like, oh, maybe it's gonna happen again. This is like the
Yes.
fear, the double fear comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's like. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, William.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. You?
I'm all right, yeah.
Hmm.
You mentioned in the introduction about unconditional love.
Yeah.
And I know you said, because you said perfection, unconditional love, and before that you said they're superficial words. But basically, there's a kind of
I don't think
memory.
I said they were superficial. That doesn't sound right.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I misheard
Anyway.
it. But
Yeah.
there's a memory of glimpses. And coming back from those glimpses, there was a reflection that everything was love. It was seen that everything was love.
Yeah.
In a way that it was just kind of obvious that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I still feel like a me, and I'm thinking something must have been aware that everything is love.
Yeah.
Do you not think there's something that's aware that everything is love when you describe that?
Oh, no, of course not. No.
So what is it obvious to?
Nothing.
So if I ask you, is everything unconditional love?
Yeah.
You would say yes.
Obviously.
Yes. So if you say obviously, then
Yeah.
what? Because you said it's not a feeling or a sense.
It's actually the unknowing of it, which is the obviousness, and not like the me would think that there's a knower of it.
Yeah.
It's the lack of comparison. It's not the addition of something.
Yeah, because when you said it's not like a feeling or a sense, it seems to me like something must sense that, or something must.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the experience of the individual is that the idea is that if it weren't there, then there would be just blackness or nothing, because it owns everything that appears. So it feels like, or its expectation would be, that if it weren't owning or experiencing everything, everything would disappear. It would be death, the idea of death that the me has.
It's just so frustrating that you can't actually know what this is that's being spoken about.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. If wanting to know what this is very frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's hopeless.
The me wants to survive death and know what's after it, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it just wants to continue. I think it would probably prefer to never die. But if there is death, then it wants to have heaven or something, or at least rebirth.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Hello.
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 You said there's just being and not without any reason.
Yeah, this is just what it is for no reason. Yeah.
And I'm confronted with a kind of fear to come out, this there comes always this thing, I can only come out when I have something to say.
Mm.
And this has to be something special or with a meaning, yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah, self-consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, and to come out just like this is, yeah, this is really something very difficult for me to yeah. I see there is sitting something, and
Yeah.
and I want to be alive and spontaneous, but
But there is only alive spontaneousness. That's all there is.
Yeah, but my experience was always that I was not right with that.
Oh, I know. Well, the me is always in the situation of not being right.
Yeah.
Or trying to be right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the thing, and yeah, just to come out and even when it's stupid or anything, I do it anyway.
Well, you don't.
Oh, so I don't. Yeah, sure.
No.
What a relief.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't do it. Yeah.
No, it's not that you don't do it. It's that there's no you.
It's no, yeah.
There's just no you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are the experience of owning what's happening. And that's the illusion. No, there's nothing to own.
But this being comes out.
There isn't a being. There isn't a separate being that comes out. There is only spontaneousness or freedom. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Just like, yeah.
Yeah. Just like, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks. Hello, Patrick.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
So I just I was introduced to your name this week, and unfortunately I haven't read. I've watched a few of the videos with Sam Harris, so I'm a student of Advaita, and so I'm
of what?
Advaita.
Okay.
Just trying to unpack what it is that you're saying relative to the constructs that I have now.
Yeah.
What you came from an Advaitic background? Is this
so what we're talking about here has no relationship to Advaita Vedanta.
Okay.
Other than the word Advaita. But we skip the word Vedanta.
Okay. And so how do you describe manifestation?
You can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not a thing.
But you can describe love, and that's not a thing.
Well, I think I said that they didn't really point to it, or that they don't mean anything to the individual because they're not in comparison. So you could say that the manifestation, as you call it, I wouldn't call it that because nothing actually manifests. This doesn't actually come from anywhere. It's not like one thing becoming this, but you could say that it's unconditional, absolute freedom, or the absolute. You could say that. But of course, again, that's the end of comparison.
We're having a mutual experience right now.
No. There is no experience there, and there's no mutuality because there's no separation. All there are words happening.
Sure.
And it's nothing speaking, and it's nothing hearing, but there might be an addition to someone having the experience of hearing, which is the experience of separation.
But
Now,
it's nonetheless an experience.
yeah. If there's an experiencer, an owner of hearing, then it will seem like there's an experience, and that
Right.
experience will seem real, and that's an illusion.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
you're not denying the experience you're having right now because you're
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I'm not denying it. There just isn't an experiencer, so there's no experience.
But what are you experiencing right now?
There isn't anyone here. There is nothing owning this. There's nothing that knows what's happening.
Sure. Well, then let's just cut to the are you having a conversation with yourself right now?
No one's having a conversation. There's just conversing. It's nothing conversing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So would you not describe that as an experience?
It's not an experience. There is no one owning it or knowing it. It just simply happens.
So we have to get to ontology then with respect to the happening.
Yeah.
Would you allow the use of the word happening?
Yeah, you could say happening, but you'd have to add on to it nothing.
Sure.
Yeah, it's nothing happening.
So in this it's like there's word games going on, because there's at no point you're allowing for the introduction of a language to describe or narrate even the experience of separation.
Yeah, but it's not a game.
Yeah,
it's not a game. It's pointing out that the narrator is an illusion. And
Absolutely.
so all of the experience, or all of the need to have a narration for what's happening, is part of the illusion. And that illusory experience is exactly where the freedom that's longed for hides. And that's what we're illuminating here. That's all we're illuminating. It's exceptionally simple.
You won't discuss or narrate the notion that there is even separation.
Right, because there isn't any. It's an illusion.
What's an illusion then?
Something that's not really happening.
So you deny the experience of interacting with an image on the screen right now.
Well, there's no denial of it. It's just obviously nothing happening. There's no denial. It's just pointing out, I understand that there might be an experience that knows what's happening, sees an image, imagine that's another reality over on the other side of the image, which is part of the experience of separation. That just doesn't happen here.
I raised my hand.
Well, you didn't.
You raised your hand.
No, the hands are raised. No one does it.
Yeah, but the fact that we're talking suggests.
Well,
that
we aren't. Talking is happening. Nobody's doing it. There might be the experience of an owner of talking, and that will be the experience of separation.
What if I said that I accept that I recognize the mythology of the I, and that I recognize the mythology that talking is occurring, so to speak, but there is a happening.
Not really. Maybe if I explain it as saying there is no time, so the appearance of talking isn't actually happening in time.
If we put aside the notion or the mythology of time,
it's not mythology.
It is
time. Time is a belief, and for the individual, the experience is real. It's not a mythology. And when that experience stops happening, it's seen to have never happened. And that's what this message is pointing out, that it's simply illusory. It's not a myth. It's not a belief or an idea. It's an experience.
what's the difference between an illusion and a mythology?
Well, a mythology tries to point to something else. It says that there's a story which points to a hidden meaning of some sort.
Mhm.
A myth that sort of it tries to explain. That's how I understand it.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Hello, Nina.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Hi. Good.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, nice. It was a pleasure to meet you at Asheville.
Yeah,
Long
that's
time
right.
ago. Yeah. So that was really fun time. Really enjoyed it. A lot of openings happen, and you know how they start breaking up. You know the structure. And really, really was very, very deep. You know, it just started loosening up. You know, all the belief systems, and you know, I mean, they are still there, heading somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But it really loosen up. I feel the weight, you know, left head. So what I want to ask you, in one of your talks, you mentioned that that secret, I mean, this message it's been forever, but was hidden for some reason. Yeah.
I don't know if I would say that. In the uncompromising nature in which it's being shared now, I don't know that you do find a lot of it. Most of it, when you read it, there's always some compromise with the experience of separation, that there is a real individual.
Okay, because I remember having that feeling that rules and regulations, you know, imposed on us by government, and the conditionings, you know, somehow didn't have a hold, you know, good hold, that if we didn't have them, there will be that unconditional.
But it's not about rules and regulations. It's about the knower of the experiencer of rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are equally as free as anything else.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with anything.
No,
No,
it's got nothing to do with anything.
So it's free to be as it is and as it appears, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. And another question that you said that things appear as objects, but things appear from nothingness, yeah, from nowhere.
Not really.
Okay.
The appearance is nothingness.
Okay, so they don't appear from.
No.
They are nothingness.
Yeah.
Appearing as a solid, appearing.
It's just nothingness appearing. So the computer screen is nothing.
Yes.
Computer screening.
Yeah. Just kind of showing. Yeah.
Well, it's not nothingness being fancy. It's not like there's a nothingness somewhere else becoming the appearance. It is nothing.
It's not. Because no.
No, exactly. because
let me because.
No, there's no because. I thought that was the joke.
Yeah, I know, but no, what's the other word? But it's empty in its there. It's maybe because it's not meaningful. It doesn't have any meaning.
It's nothing because it's not something. But the emptiness is the end of the experience. That's the emptiness, but that's not the nothingness. The nothingness is that there is no solidity to it. There's no objectification of it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's just the wording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all for now.
All right, great. Thanks, Nina. Hey, Henk. Or Henk.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Coming from about 10 years or even more, I guess, dealing with the Advaita Vedanta as just spoken about.
Yeah.
I came across this message, and it really struck me. And the sentence that struck me most was, knowing is separation.
Yeah.
And this is so much different from the Advaita approach, which says it all leads to knowing or consciousness.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's what Vedanta means, isn't it? Knowing. The knowing of not two, I think Advaita Vedanta means.
Oh, that could be. Oh, okay. So this really it resonates, of course, but it also leaves me with a sense of fascination and, of course, confusion, and the remaining I, of course, is still making comparisons with the Advaita teaching. So
yeah.
I've written down some questions, and
Great.
Can I fire away?
Yeah, go.
Okay. Well, it seems obvious, but the classic Advaita question, who am I or what am I? I guess you would call this, according to this message, a very misleading one, wouldn't you?
Well, it's all that the I has for itself. I mean, misleading. It just, the I can't do anything but look for something. And so in an effort to find knowing, the knowing that needs no knowing, it just reflects on itself, hoping for that to be a solution.
But only the question itself, what am I or who am I?
Yeah.
Is probably misleading from the start already, or not?
Well, it takes an illusion to be real.
Because even when they, well, in Advaita, they end up with being, with saying, well, no, I'm not the person, but I am consciousness, or I am the wide open space in which everything happens.
Yeah.
Would you still call that some kind of identification?
Yes. Well, I don't know about identification, but consciousness is a form of knowing.
But isn't it just the identification with whatever, if you call it?
No.
If it's either the person or consciousness or the knowing, that is remaining some kind of separation.
Exactly. Consciousness is separation. And we're not talking about disidentifying, because there's nothing to disidentify with. That's just another story.
Okay. Yeah. So well, that answers, I guess, also the so-called natty approach. I guess you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Leading to, I am this wide open space in which everything happens.
But it's all in the idea that it's leading somewhere, that there's something other than this. See, the experience that there's something other than this is part of a process, is all an illusion. There is no process. That only happens in the dream of separation, the process. The end of the process is the revelation that there never was a process, that this isn't becoming. It has no intention.
All right. Yeah. This is it, you say? This is it? Nothing appearing as everything.
Yeah.
Well, the everything is pretty clear to me. The nothing, the nothing needs some elaboration, I think, because why call it nothing if there is still some? Would you agree with terms like beingness, aliveness?
Well, let's stick with nothing and the inability to conceive of it. And the fact that this isn't nothing becoming everything. Nothing is everything, or everything is nothing.
But why nothing? Because it is not a thing.
Exactly. Not an object. It's just this.
But you would call it alive. You would call it.
You could call it aliveness, yeah. You call it anything, really. At one point, we're just playing with words, but words aren't, just useless.
But you prefer nothingness above aliveness, I guess.
Well, the thing is that it's not so easy to mind fuck with nothing. You run right into the wall. With aliveness or beingness or any of these other things, you seem to be able to objectify it. Nothing is not easy to objectify.
Okay. Thank you.
Although I do call it aliveness.
I know you do. Okay. Yeah. I like that one better, but it's okay. Yeah. So all what is just happening.
Yeah.
Not knowing. There is just, well, and then again, when you move from there, there is just sound, not hearing. There's just an image, not seeing. There isn't even perceiving, right?
There's just seeing. Well, the brain perceives. We're not talking about trying to find the edge of objectification and realizing not objectification. It has to do with the owner of hearing. So hearing happens. It just doesn't happen for anyone.
Okay.
And what's happening is simultaneously nothing. So this appearance isn't coming from anywhere. It's everything. This is everything. It's timelessly everything.
But hearing and seeing and is still going on. I mean,
apparently, seemingly.
Last one.
All right.
When I compare this message with some other Advaita teachings, sometimes it seems like it seems a matter of semantics, but there's one real obvious exception, and that is when the message talks about the physical, the bodily contraction. What I understand is that as long as this physical contraction goes on, the dream necessarily also goes on.
Yeah. That contraction is a position, and that position has the experience of moving through time.
Sorry again?
That contraction is a position, a here-ness, and that here-ness has the experience of moving through time, which is a story.
Yeah. I mean, in the introduction, you said everything is perfection, even this.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit disappointing, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it would do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing for you.
No, but I can eat. Well, there is nothing to be done about this physical contraction.
No, there's nothing to be done about anything. Actually, in the end, the experience that something has to happen is where this as freedom hides. The experience that something needs to happen for this to be free. The experience that something needs to happen comes out of the experience that something is happening. It's already nothing happening. There is no path to what is already.
Okay. I'll let it sink in. Thank you very
much. All
much.
right. Thanks. Hello, real me. Earth to real me. Come in, real me. Hello. Oh. Oh. There you
Hi,
are.
Jim. Hi, Jim. Can
Hey,
you hear?
I can hear.
Yeah. Firstly, I like to appreciate the talks
Oh, thanks.
doing, because every time I listen to the talks, as if something crumbles down, means all the beliefs, all the previous spiritual beliefs about this or that,
Yeah.
they as if unwind in a way.
Yeah.
So that feels a lot more relaxing
Hmm.
and good. So that was what I wanted to say, and there is one question.
Yeah.
What's your views on morality and personal responsibility?
There isn't any.
Yeah, because there is no one to have.
That's right. That's just part of the story of me.
Okay. Yeah. And
But
what about free will and the choice?
well, there's apparent choice. There isn't really a brain, but you could say the brain does it. But there isn't anyone that chooses. That's just part of the dream. That there's a center that's in control of what's happening.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks. Hey, Arif.
Hey, man. Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
good. Thanks. You?
I'm great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't meet this month, but hopefully in
Yeah.
June. I mean, I like to have my two places anyway, but I
Yeah.
communicate. Yeah, you're looking good, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I do my best.
Yeah. So, and actually, I raised my hand not with a question, but to offer a clarification when listening to the conversation to you and Hank. But then I guess something like a question or a need for another clarification has emerged, so I'll put that in as well. So the thing I wanted to sort of clarify was I heard you giving the meaning of the word Vedanta.
Yes. Uh-oh. Did I get it wrong?
Well, no,
It's always dangerous.
No, it's not wrong. I mean, just so that actually, what you were talking about, the approach that Advaita Vedanta does is correct. That's the whole idea of gaining in something so that you have a perfected knowledge. A monism emerges from it.
Yeah, knowing.
But the funny thing is the phrase by itself, Advaita, means obviously not two, and Vedanta, the word Veda comes, even though we associate it with the scriptures of Hinduism, actually it comes from the same root as Wissen or Witan, Old English, or Wissen in German. So it's just knowing. And
right,
anta,
exactly.
And anta means end. So it's
the end of knowing.
Yeah, so it's not non-dual end of knowingness, actually.
Oh, right. Oh, that's better.
So the reason why I offered it was because I always found the paradox between the nomenclature and what they say in the teachings. Really.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
like they haven't listened to their own, to the name of their own religion.
Exactly. That's the funny thing. That's absolutely the funny thing. So that's one of the things I actually came across this contradiction way back when I was in medical school. Many years ago, but I was confused. I mean, maybe I don't know. Who am I? I mean, I'm not.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not enlightened enough or whatever. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm not applied it and stuff like that. But yeah, this is where it gets to really. So on that point, from there, the question that emerged was, we've touched upon this point of flow a couple of times when we were talking. just being in flow, as in, of course, I've had to use this word from flow psychology, thing of being in flow during sport. I mean, this idea of where the action is going without the impediment or the interference of cognition of time or space, where it's in a smooth, streamlined motion.
Yeah.
Of course, that might be the subjective experience, but then even thinking about flow would be contradicting the fact that, you know, there is no time, wouldn't it? Because flow would imply time.
Yeah.
So that also, in effect, becomes a story.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you, I mean, if
yeah,
because that's the thing that, I mean, I used to think, I think there was a mapping in my head that, okay, it's about just being in flow all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's sort of coming apart.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah. But
we take no prisoners.
No prisoners, absolutely. This is brutal.
Yeah.
But pleasantly so, I can say. You know. So, and then the question is, so, well, this is the real question. So we've broken down this idea of flow because there's the idea of time is a belief, as you've clarified.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So then, I guess it's the question that emerges then is, so if that's not there, then this belief or illusion of there being a time, this point,
yeah,
that wouldn't that also be the nothing, not the nothing believing, and it's just that that's also just something that arises.
Absolutely. That's why there's no intention, and and even in this meeting, there's no intention to get rid of or change the experience of I am. It just points out that it's in a predicament of trying to find what is already.
But if that is so, you do mention the brain,
yeah.
like that they're being cognitive.
Yeah, but that's just a story. No, you know, you've never experienced or seen your brain.
That's true.
So there might not be one. But anyway, as an explanation, we can talk about the brain, but it's a limited, because all explanations are limited.
When you're saying that, I mean, the image that I have is, of course, I've not seen my brain is a fact, but maybe because I'm a medic, I've seen others' brains being cut out. So,
yeah.
And okay.
So there's an assumption that's happening here as well.
That thing, you know, that mass flesh. Okay, that's coming from there and stuff. So that's also, so it's all.
It's a functional description. It helps talk about these things, about how choice is made in the brain, but there's no one that chooses. But in the end, it's just a description. It's just an explanation.
So it's actually falling apart of all semantic connections to any form of imagery, and
it's a falling apart of all connections. This is timeless. It's unconnected. It's completely free.
Yeah, but what I meant when I said semantic is because it's in the sense of memories, or the sense of, you know, having pictures or imagination, which constructs what apparently reality is.
Yeah,
has a lot to do, or that sense seems to have a lot to do with how language is formed, or you know, because frankly I don't remember clearly.
But in the end, this has no explanation, has no reason.
Yeah, totally. There is no reason.
Yeah.
All the other mechanisms are just reason creations. Just happening.
Totally. Yeah.
Nice. What a beautiful catastrophe. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Uri.
Thank you. Take care, man. See you in June.
You too. Yeah, great. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. You?
Good. I'm kind of new to all this, but I've experienced like the flow state and
Yeah.
being one with experience, and I
Yeah.
can like feel it. It's like a peaceful feeling that I feel, and there's like a clarity, and when I'm in that state, I feel like there's no way I can leave this because it's so clear and obvious.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it goes away,
Yeah.
and then I understand it intellectually when I'm out of that state and that mindset, and I can't get back into it, and it's really frustrating. And I was wondering what you had to say about that.
That's what seems to happen.
Sorry, what was that?
That's what seems to happen. There seems to be a period of there being an experiencer and then no experiencer, and then an experiencer and no experiencer. And then at some point, it might be that there's just no experiencer anymore. But I can say what is without an experiencer is not a state.
Okay.
And you don't actually know what it was like.
Okay.
The claims that the individual has when it comes back have nothing to do with it. It all has to do with its assumed experience of it, but it's not an experience.
Okay. So I'm kind of, is it like I'm identifying with that emotion instead of just
Yeah.
remaining that?
Well, it's not an emotion. That's the whole thing. It's not an emotion. It's actually the end of anyone having emotions. It's not the end of emotions. It's the end of anyone owning them or having them. The me owning thoughts and feelings feels like that's the solution, that it's going to figure it out by dealing with thoughts and feelings. But that's not really the end of the need to become. The end of the need to become is when there's no one left owning thoughts and feelings. Because they have no story already.
Okay.
They're already timelessly appearing.
Is there something like I can do right now
Yeah, if you could tell me what you could do to sit on a couch, what more you could do to sit on a couch, then I'll tell you what more you could do for this to be what is already. The difficulty is this is what's longed for already. It's the additional experience that it's happening to someone that makes it seem like it's not. And all efforts come out of the illusion of that additional experience, the experiencer. So there isn't anyone to do anything, and there isn't anything to be done, because this is everything, or this is freedom already.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Hey, Jory.
Unmute.
There you are.
Okay, great. Hey, Jim.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think what I've been thinking about in terms of all of this stuff lately is about how things seem to be separated into chaos or order, and that there's like this insatiable longing to make order when things seem disturbing or not as I expected or not as I wanted. And so I realized that this self thing, it can't do otherwise.
That's right.
It's like it chaos, or what, it is defining and formulating as chaos, is unacceptable to this selfing thing.
Yeah.
And so I just try to say, okay, I have no clue what is going to happen in the next moment. And, any fantasy of what is going to happen in the next moment is a fantasy of what's going to happen in the next moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, and sometimes that sucks.
Yeah.
But so
Well, the
I
illusion,
guess,
the illusion
yeah.
is that there's a next moment.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's, yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah. That kind of stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like over there, like from, from your point of view, not that, whatever.
Yeah, I got it.
So is there sort of a different sense of chaos, of chaos being, oh, that's just freedom, that's just ungovernable, like,
Well, there's not a sense of it, but it's obvious that this is chaos.
This is chaos.
It just appears ordered. It's anarchy. I don't use those words very much because they seem to elicit certain reactions. So we could say freedom.
Yeah.
It's unconditional. It's unrecognizable freedom already.
But that it might not have the sort of painful association that.
Well, the pain is freedom appearing as pain. The idea that this needs to appear in a certain way, or that the story behind it needs to make something happen, is all part of the illusion that this is happening in time.
Yeah. Okay.
It can't be solved, and it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and you just see that. I mean, it's not like you accept that or bear it, or you don't.
I think seeing it is a little misleading because it sounds like somebody sees it. It just is. It just is that way.
It is that way. Yeah.
And there's no certainty about that. This isn't a conclusion that's been reached here. There's nothing that knows that.
Okay. Okay. And then I sort of just a second thing with this is that, it seems like unconditional love, and then I've sort of added unconditional freedom, or you might have said that. All these words like that are sweeping words, like love is a sweeping word.
Yeah,
and
unconditional love. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's just a way to say, and like, just because love in our society has, limited and formulated meanings, then we have to call it unconditional love. But actually, love is already unconditional if it's really love. Yeah. And then freedom is also unconditional because it's free. It's like sweepingly free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so any of these totality sort of these are ways of sort of pointing towards just a total sweeping.
The limitlessness of this.
Limitlessness. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Thanks. That's pretty much what I got for you today.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Patrick.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to construct a sentence that is answerable. And so in what sense do you acknowledge the objects in the room that you're sitting?
There aren't any. There isn't anybody experiencing objects.
So when you retreat from the physicality, and the sense of physicality,
that's not what we're talking about. A retreat from physicality. There's still appearance. It's just not there. There's just no one seeing it.
But that's what I started with. When I asked about appearance, you wouldn't acknowledge appearance.
And of course. I just said it was nothing.
no thing.
No, nothing. Nothing, again, is something you can sort of think about, like trying not to objectify something. No thing seems to me less, like I said before, mind fuckable. So it's just nothing to hold on to.
Well, yeah, but nothing to hold on to is different than an experience.
Oh, okay. I'm saying the same thing. For me, it's the same thing. Nothing to hold on to and no one to hold on to it. That's the same thing.
So I'm having the experience of Jim Newman.
Right.
That might be illusory.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, still it remains an experience.
That's
Why?
right.
Is that false?
Well, it's illusory. It's not false in the sense of being wrong, but what might happen is when that experience ends, it's quite surprising that it's not the end of a story. It's the end of there ever having been a story.
But I didn't introduce the word story. I
did.
Experience. I know, but
Yeah.
I asked about it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's the end of there ever having been experience.
But that suggests that there was an experience. If you're saying there was an end.
No, I'm saying that there never was experience. It was only an experience. The separate experience is only true in the illusion to itself. That's the only reality it has. When it ends, there's nothing left that ever had that reality. So it never actually happened.
What would you
And
describe?
so, yeah.
What would you describe? What would you describe the moment? This
Conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if you could use that word.
It's just simply what it is. You can't objectify it because there isn't any object, but you could just say it's simply as it is, and it's nothing being this.
So you're not denying that there's something happening right now.
No, but I am saying no, but
Okay.
but in addition, here it's quite obvious that it's nothing happening in the sense that it's not coming from anywhere or going anywhere. It's simply immediacy that has no solidity to it at all.
Okay, but let's just assume that that's a given.
Okay.
What is happening between Patrick and Jim right now?
Well, there isn't
I
a
know.
between. Oh, all right.
I think one of the videos I saw with Sam was wrestling, and it's this sense that that there's a place that he was trying to get to in order to have a conversation with you, and I feel like I'm having that same wrestle right now.
Yeah. It's not a conversational message because it constantly pulls the rug out from underneath the fixed experience. Because all that's being pointed out, it's actually very simple, is that a fixed experience is an illusion, and that illusion seeks, and seeking only finds seeking, and what's longed for is the end of seeking, and that never comes from seeking. And so all seeking experience, all objectification is just completely by the message, not with any intention, but just because of the obviousness that this is nothing happening, the rug is just pulled out from underneath it. So it doesn't go anywhere. The conversation isn't a normal conversation of a teaching where there would be movements from one position to the next. It just constantly points out that the need for something to happen is illusory. This is already free.
Okay, so it's really quite beautiful, but I'm still, I want to understand the notion that I have that that somebody named Jim buttoned a black shirt today.
Okay, but Jim didn't. It just happened. Just like Jim isn't talking. This is nothing talking, and nobody's listening. There's just hearing. it's all already empty. It's nothing being this. There's just nowhere to go with it.
The shirt got buttoned.
Apparently, not really, because nothing really happens. Apparently it did, just like there's an apparent conversation or happening, which is nothing. You can, for me, you can call that also apparent, like an apparition. It seems to be, but it's not really. This happening is real and simultaneously unreal.
Right. You're just suggesting that the focus on that unreal component is irrelevant.
No, what the suggestion is that nothing could have anything to do with the unreal, and that there's not an unreal component, that the actual words in the actual hearing are simultaneously real and unreal, unsubstantial. And it's only the experience of the substantiality of hearing or of this happening that then seeks a solution, an answer.
So is the question, what's happening?
Well,
does that make sense to you?
All the questions, I understand all the questions, but what we're talking about doesn't have anything to do with an answer. It is that the questioner is illusory, and all of the demands or experiences that there is or needs to be an answer are therefore, in a sense, illusory. I almost wanted to say irrelevant, but there's nothing right or wrong with it. It just happens when there's a separate experience. But the experiencer is the illusion, so there are no answers. This didn't find an answer.
But
this doesn't know. This doesn't, what we're talking about doesn't come from knowing. It's nothing. It's just
this buttoned
nothing.
up a shirt.
But it's nothing buttoned up shirting.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm with you completely.
All
but in order to discuss something with buttons on it, we just call it a shirt. And
yeah. And there's no need to call it anything else. That only arises when there's an experience of separation that wants an explanation of how it happened.
Right.
How it really happened.
Okay. I'll let others.
You're all right. I thought.
Okay, cool, great. I didn't know what the thing was. This is my first time, so I.
Yeah, no, you'll get the bill later.
I did send it. Okay. Depending on how well this goes.
I'll try. I'll work harder.
So, no, when I said it really was quite beautiful. I meant that was my experience of that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get into a flow of being able to have a conversation so that it's understandable and
I think it is. I think it is. It'll never be relevant, but I think it is understandable. It's not relevant because it's not applicable, because there's not. This is already free. That's the trouble for the experience of separation that looks for freedom.
Absolutely. So,
but in a way, that's the end of the conversation, isn't it?
Right, and that's why it kind of gets to the point is that for me at least, there's the sense of me, and therefore there is a need for conversation.
Totally.
And at least
here it'll be frustrated.
Right, and so I'm still kind of grappling with the notion that there's a denial of the experience of.
There isn't a denial. This acknowledges there's an experience and an experiencer. It is happens to be completely illusory. It has certain dream effects.
Sure, beautiful.
In that experience.
Yeah.
But when that experience ends, if it does, it never happened. It has absolutely no reality whatsoever, except to itself.
Okay, so that's lovely, but let's just suggest. No, I mean that. So so when you don't, you're going to interrupt and say there's no you, but Anyway.
Good. Good. Thank you. It's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I know you did. So there's a sense that if I withdraw from the experience of the world around me, I get to a place that you might share, and that there is I sense a presence. There is something beyond Patrick's physicality and the objects in the room and so on, that whatever that is, I'm having an experience that there is just a presence.
Yeah, and that's not what we're talking about here.
Why?
Because presence is part of the dream, part of the experience. It's another experience.
Ah, that's interesting.
What we're not, I'm saying that we're not talking about withdrawing from the world. I'm saying there is no world.
Okay.
We're not talking about separation or detachment. We're talking about that the experience that there's one who could separate or detach is just an experience looking for a better experience. And that experience is an illusion.
Do you also share a sense of a presence?
No. And it's not that I don't exactly. This is just nothing.
But what's that sense? You're saying that that's also
can't say a word about it. You can't say a word about it. You can't say a word about it. It's completely unspeakable. I mean, right. That's why we come up with all these words like I can't remember who said it before, but unconditional joy, unconditional love, unconditional freedom, because what's being suggested is that this can't be contained in a word or an idea or a feeling or a thought, that it is all of that, limitlessly, timelessly. And so this is that.
But what is the sense of that presence? How do you describe that?
You can't. There isn't anyone here to describe it.
What is that?
Exactly. You can't know. It's unknowing.
But you know what I'm talking about.
No. I mean,
you won't acknowledge. You won't acknowledge that I have a sense of. I won't call it the I, but But I have a sense that there is a presence of some kind beyond physicality.
Yeah.
This
isn't beyond physicality. It's not some sort of detachment. It's actually the other way around. It's not a separating from anything. The separation is actually experience. It is the complete dissolution of separation. So there is only what is. And in that sense, can't be objectified or known. It's simply nothing happening. It's not that I become something, it's that the separation is the experience of I am. That's separation. No matter in what level of disillusion one finds himself with I am, the I am or consciousness is the experience of separation. This is the end of separation, the end of experience.
Why did you use the word consciousness?
That's often what's talked about I think, we talked about Sam Harris. I think in that conversation, consciousness comes up. It's just something very common in spiritual terms, in spiritual things. And when you say presence, for me, it's sort of a similar thing to all there is consciousness, or all there is awareness.
What is that experience then of that self, or that presence, or that consciousness then? What is that?
It's just simply another form of knowing, another form of separation.
What's the light behind you?
A lamp? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
A lamp. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
I look forward to the donation. I am just kidding.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, William.
Before, when I was just listening now, I really wanted to start having a go, not at you, but just in general. But listening to this, it almost scrambles the mind, so I can't even put an argument together now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, nothing.
So the person lives in a reality that isn't actually happening.
Yeah, totally.
And the contraction makes that seem completely real.
Yeah.
And this message kind of undoes that somehow.
It can do.
There's still a hope, though, that that's going to lead to a final goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if I say the goal I want is to not be here, that's just me projecting having a good experience.
Well, you're not here already. So how could it be a goal? The whole idea of a goal is just part of the dream.
Well, the idea of a goal is to get somewhere better or more desirable. That's
yeah. And all there is what is.
But the thing is, when you say I'm not here already, the experience of being here already is a contraction, and it causes all kinds of suffering and whatever else.
So it's true there, or it's real there, but it has no reality outside of that.
So I'm the only one who cares about whether or not.
Absolutely. Because when that contraction falls away, there are no contractions. There are no me's. That's the only me.
There's just so much love coming from this.
Oh.
I don't know if it's what word you would use, communication or mess. Don't know if they're good words, but
yeah.
Just totally boundless, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still think, though, that when you were listening to Tony, the boundlessness that Tony was sharing swallowed you up somehow.
Oh, yeah. In a sense, you could say that. Yeah.
So if I go on listening long enough, I'll die into boundlessness too.
Well, but you're saying there's a story to this. See, me going to Tony is this appearing as the memory of going to Tony. Nobody ever went to Tony.
What? Yeah, but okay. I don't have proof you went to Tony because I don't have videos of meetings of Tony that show you listening. But
there is one. There is one on the internet. You could find me in the audience. I've been told.
I've seen one where he refers to you, but I haven't seen your face.
Yeah, but that's still what is.
No, but the thing is, there are videos of other things that have happened, like you giving talks.
And that's what is. This is truly timeless. This has absolutely no past in it at all. It has no story to it at all. It's immediacy appearing for absolutely no reason, unconditioned, just happening. You can draw absolutely no conclusions about it at all. That's just the dream.
So the loosening of this tension, because when it's very, very contracted, I think I want a release from the tension, but the me is that tension.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And that's why you said the me's what's really longed for is the end of the need to seek or something, because the me doesn't want it, but really what's being looked for is complete absence.
Yeah.
Why would that be longed for, though?
Because it's the end of that experience of separation, which has a sense of dissatisfaction. And somewhere that's known. Known's not the right word. Don't kill me. But that somewhere that's known. It's already obvious.
But it's awful for the me, because on the one hand, it longs for the end of that need to get.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It longs to, it thinks that the end of seeking is going to be finding. That's its experience. It knows it's going to be a part of it.
Finding a new position.
Yeah, a better one, the right one, the enlightened one.
The one that I think Jim has found.
Yeah. Jim has it. Yeah, right.
And he keeps saying he hasn't, so that shows he's in a good position.
Well, it's not just that he doesn't have it; he just isn't. There isn't a Jim.
The questioning doesn't get me anywhere.
Well, there isn't anywhere to go, man. This is it. So it doesn't keep anything from happening either. There already isn't anything happening. So it's irrelevant. It makes no difference. It's just what happens, apparently.
I think I'm going around in a circle, but nothing's actually happening. There's no.
That's right.
Yeah.
No. But that experience, if that's the experience, and that's the experience. This isn't denying that's the reality there, but that's an illusion.
I want this message to be useful for me, like to help me, but in the same time, even though it's obvious it won't help me, it is incredible to. Yeah.
I think if you came and mowed my lawn, that might help.
It wouldn't help you. I'm shit at mowing. Rita would be like, Jim, why do you keep letting him mow the lawn? It's never so bad. Thanks, Jim.
All right, thanks, William. You're up, Nina.
Okay, so I just kind of realize or acknowledge that the me, the seeker, the experiencer is totally mechanical.
Yeah.
Is it totally like just like a machine running?
It's a function.
It's a function, but it uses everything.
Yeah. Well, it owns everything.
Soon as it says, here I am.
Yeah, everything belongs to me.
Yeah, everything is mine and I deserve it or I don't deserve it.
Well, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it just, unlimited, limitedness. So I just like kind of, it's mechanical. It's just so robot-like,
Yeah.
But it uses feelings to kind of appear as real.
No. It is the experience that I am real, which arises in everything at the same time.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not using it to appear as real.
No.
Everything becomes real, and
it does have the part of its experience is that if it figures out or tinkers enough with thoughts and feelings, that it will find a solution.
I see. Okay, very good. Okay, so it's not okay, but it's still mechanical. That's how I just kind of like, wow, this is robot, useless kind of.
Well, you could. I don't know. Mechanical somehow doesn't sit quite right, but there isn't any free will.
So it's like you said, it's like a straitjacket.
Yeah.
It's tight and so
Yeah, it's constricted. Yeah.
Constricted very much. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Bye-bye.